It is the annual Sunday sojourn to Happy Valley as we build into racing on Sunday afternoon here in Hong Kong. We're at Happy Valley for a 10-race card. It's great to have your company here on Racing to Win. I'm Tom Wood and joined in the studio by Paul Lally and Nick Child, where we're not only going to have a look at Happy Valley, but we're also going to have a quick discussion on the entries which came out, of course, for HKIR 2023. Nick, hello to you. Good meeting coming up at Happy Valley with the Class 2 sprinters in action.
Yeah, it certainly is, Tom. Yeah, look, it's a really good race, that 7th race, actually. Kirpany up at the top of 102 sets the standard. And, yeah, look, they won't hang around as well. There are some very fast horses in that race. And, obviously, the entries for IR look very exciting.
Yeah, they certainly do. Paul, first of all, any jackpots to touch on for Sunday's card?
Yeah, there's two good jackpots here. 1.5 million going into the triple trio, so that should get up to the 4 million mark. And also 2.7 going into the 6-up win bonus, so that should get over 7 million as well. So a couple of really good jackpots there as well.
Yep, so plenty to get your teeth stuck into on Sunday at Happy Valley. But of course, on Wednesday, the entries were published for HKIR 2023. You can find them on the website by visiting hkjc.com. And you can see the story there by the team as well, with 189 elite horses, including 55 individual Group 1 winners. Hopefully, some of them making their way across to Hong Kong for Longines HKIR. And in terms of some of the action, Nick, plenty of Northern Hemisphere entries from the likes of Aidan O'Brien and co. And hopefully we can see some of his stars here, and Kinross as well, who is Hong Kong owned.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it's a stellar lineup of entries. Obviously, naturally, they're not all going to come, of course. But as you say, the horses that Aidan has put in, there's a lot of quality there, some real quality. So it'll be fascinating to see what does come.
And Paul, the Japanese, they always send a strong contingent of runners across, don't they?
Yeah, they always do, and they always do very well. So they keep coming back all the time, the Japanese. And, you know, there's a few old stages in there, like Jack Dior. We've seen him out here a couple of times. And so the punters get to know these horses quite well, and they become quite good betting propositions because they know how they run.
But for more now on the international raiders that are potentially coming here for International Day coming up in December. The entries, of course, were published on Wednesday afternoon. I'm pleased to say joining us on the show is international racing expert Nick Luck. Nick, thanks for joining us here on Racing to Win. It's really exciting to see the number of entries that potentially are coming here for our international meeting.
That's right, Tom, and some quite interesting ones as well. I think a few trainers thinking a little bit out of the box. So Hong Kong may be a destination that we hadn't thought of for those horses 3 or 4 months ago. We are thinking of now. So I'm excited to be coming. I know the trainers are concerned are excited to be coming, and I think hopefully they'll add some rich lustre to what already look well-stacked races.
Yeah, absolutely. So much prize money up for grabs. Is it a destination, Hong Kong, that trainers and owners sort of think is a bit of an afterthought in the past? Is it something that they're more warming to now with the global racing scene that really is upon us?
I think it depends year on year, to be honest. It depends on a number of factors pertaining to those autumn carnivals around the world. We've just had British Champions Day, for example, that was, again, run on very soft ground, or at least specialist ground. And usually the Arc de Triomphe meeting this year was run on very quick ground, and that gives a good little run into the autumn meetings like the Breeders' Cup and then Hong Kong. Breeders' Cup's in California this year. That'll suit some horses really well, might not suit others. And, of course, then that all predetermines, I think, whether you've then got a horse that might want to come to Hong Kong. So not an afterthought as such. I think it just depends on how the other autumn carnivals fall.
Let's touch on some of the runners from the UK that are potentially coming over here. Of course, Kinross, he's owned in Hong Kong by Mark Chan. He was defeated at the weekend. They've talked about this for a while. Do you think he's a serious contender in terms of coming to Hong Kong this season?
Well, if you talk about a horse whose destination has always been Hong Kong, it is Kinross. Now, I should add the caveat that I spoke to Rafe Beckett earlier in the week, and he said it is possible that he'll go to Hong Kong, but I think it is highly probable that he will be there because he's owned by Mark Chan, and he wanted this horse to run in Hong Kong all season. Stepping up to a mile in Hong Kong, I think, is the right call for this horse. I think the sprint in Hong Kong would be far too sharp for him. Having said that, he's, of course, taking on arguably the strongest division. Taking on Golden 60 and California Spangle is not going to be a cakewalk for a horse like Kinross, but he is very versatile. He is adaptable. He's a horse who doesn't mind travelling at all, even though he's got his own quirks. You know, Rafe Beckett has to saddle him as he's walking around the paddock. He can't actually stand still to have a saddle put on him. He's become a very genuine racehorse and a very consistent one as well. So I'm excited to see him. Whether he's quite got the innate brilliance to defeat Hong Kong's best in the Hong Kong Mile is a moot point for me. but he should certainly run his race. And I think the other point to note, and this is going back to what I was just saying, they've elected to miss the Breeders' Cup. He ran really well in the Breeders' Cup Mile last year. It would have been a very obvious target, but I think they feel he's 6 years old now. He has busy campaigns. They cannot keep squeezing the lemon, and so they opted to miss the Breeders' Cup and give preferential treatment to Hong Kong.
Nick, talking of strength, obviously the Vase is a race that's perhaps in some years lacked a little bit of depth, but this year's entry, they look very strong, obviously, from the UK. The likes of James Ferguson and Jane Chapel-Hyam have entries in that race. France and Germany, Group 1 winners are plenty, and the Irish as well, of course, Aidan O'Brien and not forgetting Willie Mullins. So it could be a very strong race this year.
Could be an extremely strong race, and you always feel, don't you, that it's the race that's best suited to those European imports who are used to running the full mile and a half in top company. I mean, the horse that really intrigues me, and I have absolutely no idea whether this is destination or not, is Kyprios. I mean, the idea that we'd see him in the Hong Kong entries is something that's taken me completely by surprise. He is an extreme stayer, but he does lay above these horses in terms of raw class and numbers. You wouldn't have thought he was quick enough for a mile and a half on fast ground, but I wonder if they applied a bit of headgear, because he is starting to look quite lazy in his races, and he definitely pulled himself up in front the other day at Ascot. Wonder if they applied a bit of headgear and drove him from the front out of a competitive scenario, if he had the speed to be able to do that, whether in fact he wouldn't be quite an interesting runner.
What about the Aidan O'Brien runners? Nick, what are you hearing on the ground there in terms of who are the potentials that are definitely, you think, are going to get on the plane and come to Hong Kong? Because, of course, he's got four-time Group 1 winner Paddington amongst the entries.
Well, as with Aidan, at every meeting, you never know for sure until they get on the plane. But I mentioned Kyprios there. Paddington's the other correct horse to touch upon. He's very interesting because he won 4 straight Group 1s at the beginning of the season. He rattled through the Irish Guineas, the Eclipse, the Sussex Stakes. He came up short in the Juddmonte International, but it was certainly no disgrace. It was really interesting. After York, Aidan went into this period of self-flagellation for running him there, saying he'd been too hard on him, he'd given him too busy a campaign, and that really he should have backed off him after the win at Goodwood in very deep ground and then prepped him for an autumn campaign. Now, he came back at Ascot the other day and he ran no sort of race, but the ground was so terrible and he pulled too hard, perhaps a little fresh, that you kind of inclined to give him a bye for that. I thought they would just rush him off to stud. I saw no upside in them carrying on after the campaign that he'd had, and he will go to stud at the end of the year. But clearly, judging from Aidan's comments both the other day and after York, they feel that there is unfinished business with this horse. Whether that comes in the Breeders' Cup Mile or Hong Kong, I don't know. But for me, I feel that the Breeders' Cup might come a little bit soon, and the Hong Kong timing would be very good for Paddington. Either way, the trainer clearly feels that he's got, as I say, unfinished business.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see some of these quality entries coming out of the Northern Hemisphere, of course, for our big international meeting, and we hope that many of them do get on the plane and to come down here to make what will be a sensational meeting for the 2023 edition. Nick, we appreciate your time here on Racing to Win this week. I know it's early in the morning over there in the UK, so thanks for getting up for us, and we look forward to seeing you down here for our big week of racing.
Now, never too early for you, Tom, and I've got 3 young daughters as well, so 8:02 in the morning, I'd be in trouble if I wasn't up.
Now, thanks once again to Nick Clark for joining us on the show this week and providing some terrific insight to hopefully some of those horses we'll see down here in Hong Kong come December. Well, racing on the Hong Kong front, of course, Happy Valley coming up on Sunday afternoon. We've got 10 races on the C course. It is meeting number 14 of the season. Might be a bit of rain about Sunday in the weather forecast as well. Just note we're underway at 12:45 and the race we're previewing here on Racing to Win is race number 7. It's the Class 2 1,000 metres, the Kwang Tung Handicap Cup. A man that's in terrific form at the moment is Andrea Atzeni. He's had numerous winners throughout the last 4 meetings, including a double. He's absolutely flying at the moment. He's had 7 wins so far for the 2023-24 campaign.
Mega bonus in front. Denfield, Super Eagle, Golden Luck. Mega bonus for Atzeni. He's going to get a win. Best Lamb 3 lengths away coming after him, and then came Reliable Profit, but Best Lamb for Andrea Atzeni's grabbed him, taken over, and Best Lamb too good. Lucky With You's in the lead, Flying Ace out now, Dream Winner, Bundle of Charm up the rail, Lucky With You in front, and Lucky With You. Packing Bowl is going like a jet. 4 on Maniac and self-improvement and packing bold. That is a very good win.
I couldn't ask for a better start, really. Like I said before, when I arrived in Hong Kong, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't have any expectations, really. I just sort of took it as it come, and all I could have done is try my best and trying to, you know, get a winner on the board straight away, and hopefully we'll carry on. And you know, it's been a very good start. You know, I've obviously rode 7 winners already. I've only been here 7 weeks, and so it's actually a lot better than I thought. It started a lot better than I thought it would, and but yes, let's hope it keeps going.
Andrea, you seem very grounded, and I don't think you don't seem as if you're one to get too far ahead of yourself. But just looking ahead, obviously, after what has been a very good start, what are the goals, the ambitions for you now that you've sort of really settled into Hong Kong? Is there anything in particular that you're looking at and aiming for?
Because things are going quite well at the moment, I'd like to keep this sort of momentum if I can, which is obviously not easy. You need the support, you need a lot of luck, and you know, you need a lot of things on your favour. So it would be nice to continue this sort of momentum at the moment, and which, you know, like I said, is not easy, but the way things are going, the support is coming in, and so I couldn't. And at the same time, I'm very lucky that I can do quite light. I can do probably 115. I have done it, you know, a couple of times. 116 is probably not an issue for me, so that helps a lot. That's a good head start if you can do lightish weights. And yeah, my target is to hopefully to keep it, you know, going as long as I can. And one thing I like to find, you know, before the end of the season or whatever, it'd be nice to land on a decent horse, on a group horse eventually.
Yeah, I know we don't have group racing on Sunday coming up at Happy Valley, but what we do have is plenty of races, 10 of them. You've got 9 rides. Let's have a look at your rides for Sunday. You start in the second with Young Brilliant, but a couple I thought we could just pick out and have a chat about. Race 4, you ride Gallant Valor. Now, he's on handicap debut, lightly weighted horse. He'd be some sort of chance, wouldn't he? Yeah,
he obviously, like I said, he's still a maiden, but he actually trialled quite well the other day. And he's got a decent draw. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to getting on him.
You've ridden a few of these last time. Little Fairy was one of them. I was, to some degree, impressed with the way he ran on, but were you sort of the same thinking? I was. He's a horse that he needs to switch off in his races, which I was very keen to do the last day. He's sort of learning how to race now. We haven't got the best of draws again on Sunday, and but he's a horse that needs to relax for the first part of the race, and if he finishes the way he did the last day, I think he should be competitive again. Yeah, for sure. Race 7 is our sort of, you know, highest class of race on Sunday. Talking of that Danny Shum connection once again, you ride Majestic Star. Now, I know you haven't sort of ridden him in his trials and that sort of thing in races, but on paper, he's a pretty decent horse and probably doesn't have a great deal to find. No, like you said, on ratings, he hasn't got a lot to find. And it's obviously a very tight race. You know, we're taking on sort of probably race fit horses. He's having his first run this year. I actually sat on him yesterday on the grass, and he seems in good form. One thing I would say, I do think he'll come on for the run. He's a big horse, and he'll probably take a run before he's spot on. But it's a nice ride to get, and like I said, on ratings, hasn't got a lot to find. Yeah, and we can't chat without, I think, mentioning an old firm favourite around the valley. That's old Vincey. He got his head in front the back end of last season, but at his age, he's advancing years of 9. Probably has a little bit to do, but he'll be a genuine, honest ride. Oh yeah, he obviously likes around there. He won the back end of the season over 2,200 metres. I actually sat on him this morning. He's running on Sunday over 1,800, which I'm actually quite glad. Because it seems like he's a little bit fresh at the moment. So I think 1,800, it's a good way to start. We know he stays a little bit further, but yeah, he's having his first run back, but he seems ready to go.
He's been used by many trainers so far here in Hong Kong. Andrea Atzeni, Nick, and he's had 5 winners across the last 4 meetings. Yeah, he's doing extremely well, and his last 3, as he would have mentioned there, obviously for Danny Shum. So if he can sort of continue that relationship,
that's certainly not going to do him any harm whatsoever.
And Paul, there's opportunities up for grabs at the moment with Hugh Bowman out, Vincent Ho out for an extended period of time, so it's a good time to take the bull by the horns.
Yeah, definitely, and we've seen him do that. We've also seen Brendan Abdullah have the winners as well. So those jockeys have got an opportunity, as you say, and hopefully they can establish themselves.
Indeed, so we wish Andrea the best of luck for Sunday's card at Happy Valley. We'll continue previewing Happy Valley. Race number 7 is the main event. That's coming up after the break here on Racing to Win. Stay with us. Racing to Win, the Sunday edition. We're looking at Happy Valley, which the venue is this coming weekend. Of course, race number 7 is the main event, and that is the Kwangtung Handicap Cup over the trip of 1,000 metres. But before that, Paul, the last run reminder is what we're going to highlight now. And who should we be sticking in the black book this week?
King Invincible is the one that we're going to highlight here. You can see him slightly slow away here. Now, this horse was having his first run for the season. He's coming back from throat surgery. He looked quite good at last season, and with that sort of vet issue out of the way, he's looked quite good in this debut run. You can see he's well back coming into the straight. He's still well back, and he just couldn't get a run, and he just lost all momentum. Once he picked himself back up, he hit the line really strongly. So I think from a good draw, Zach Purden aboard, he's going to be tough to beat, King Invincible.
Yep, certainly still ran through the line well over the final stages. HKJC.com is where you can find the last run reminder. Have a look at on there. Paul's picked out plenty for the weekend. Well, race number 7, the main event at Happy Valley, and this is the lineup for its Class 2 1,000 metres, a rating spread of 105 through 80. And Kirpity comes into this with a claim of Alfie Chan riding for Casper Founds. Majestic Stars first up. Pinghai Galaxy is also first up of 3 trials, including 2 wins. WizKid, he's £2 worse off this time around with Kirpany, of course, who beat him a couple of starts ago. We Are Hero comes to Happy Valley for the first time. Nervous Witness resuming. Carroll Street Seasons Wit resuming. And Reward Smile tries 1,000 metres for the first time. Pace in this race, Nick, does it all come from Nervous Witness?
Not necessarily, I don't think, but he does like to lead, and he's probably a bit of a stronger type than some in this race that also like to press forward, so he might just have that sort of physical advantage. WizKid is never too far away, and he's drawn well in 1, so I expect him to find himself in a very good spot from the get-go. And Kirpany, he's another horse with plenty of brazen speed, Paul, so there'll be a decent old tempo on him.
Yeah, there will. And look, I think he'll just roll across from his wide draw, Kirpany, and try and get outside Nervous Witness, WizKid. And Pinghai Galaxy's led in the past as well, but we know WizKid from barrier 1. He just might have to make Nervous Witness work in the early stages.
Well, Kirpany's been a horse that's in terrific form so far for Casper Founds. Opportunities are few and far between for him, and he in this race, Paul, has come up with barrier number 9, which is not ideal as we see some of these barrier stats.
Yeah, you can see them there for yourself as well on the C course. You know, the favourites have got a reasonable record on this with a 41% win rate as well. So, yep, well, you know, WizKid's obviously drawn well in 1.
Yeah, look, it's not a huge field, but the draw will always play its part, especially on this C course.
Indeed, we can hear from Casper Founds. He's engaged to Alfie Chan to take the ride to take some weight off for Kirpany, who comes out of Group 3 company.
Casper Kirpany lines up this Sunday at Happy Valley. Cracking race, the 7th. Plenty of speed in it. Your horse possesses a whole stack of it, but he's done a great job so far this season.
He has, you know. He's come back, had quite a few problems for us in the course of last season, and yeah, he's come back a nice fresh horse and performed well both starts. He's got some good form at the Valley. Obviously, he's drawn the widest gate, but we'll just slide forward and see where he ends up. You know, there's no pressure to attack for the lead, but we'll probably just drop him in just behind the speed and see if he can be strong late.
That run in the National Day Cup last time, I mean, he's certainly run up to his mark there. I mean, he's now into triple figures, but he's honouring that mark, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so, you know. I'd like it to be in 1,200 at the Valley. I'd be a lot more confident, you know. Whereas at 1,000, you're just going to be, it's constant pressure, and you might just feel it a little bit. But he presents in good form, he's fresh, and, you know, we're just happy to get another race into him.
How's he benefited from that time up in Chung Fa? Casper, he obviously went up there for a little bit of a break, and you're bringing him back now?
Yeah, he's good. He looks well, and he's ready to have a run.
Got Alfie Chan on board. Also read a nice article this week, obviously giving him the support, and obviously with the big weight, perhaps in need of the claim, but be a good spin for Alfie as well.
Yeah, of course. Look, Alfie's, you know, he's worked for me for a while, and, you know, it's hard to get rides for him, but we're trying to give him as much support as we can before Ellis gets his way up in Happy Valley, hopefully in the next few weeks. But yeah, so he's a good kid, does his work in the morning, so it's nice to just try and reward him with some half-decent rides where he can earn some money for his family and hopefully get some wins on the board.
Lee's been quite nice, actually. Just a quick line on Ellis Wong. Obviously, perfect team as a winner for him on Wednesday. I thought it was a really, really sort of intelligent ride from the young man.
Yeah, it was. Like, you know, obviously it was a little bit tight on the inside there, going through those gaps, which we certainly had a chat with him about that, just for the future, to make sure he's careful and rides well within the rules of racing. But he's a good kid. You know, he's got a good head on him. He just needs a bit of time to really mature into it. And look, the future's there for him, so we'll just bring him along and give him the best opportunities we can. I think it's all about probably next season, but he'll hit his straps probably from sort of December onwards, I would say.
Casper Founds with the 12 winners so far this season, but what of the opposition for this 1,000 metre race? Nick, here's a replay of Reward Smile. Thought it was just worth showing this because he got keen into the first turn here and he's trying 1,000 metres for the first time, so maybe does 1,000 metres with a good strong tempo help him relax a little?
I think it could, yeah, for sure. Look, I haven't managed to find a spot for him in my top four, but look, I think it's interesting that John tries this this trip with him off a mark of 82. Carries no weight. Alexi Vidal will be on board. So there are certain positives there, Paul, for sure. He's an interesting runner more than anything. Yeah,
look, coming back to the 1,000 metres, he's been prolific over the 1,200 and done really well. So, look, he was leading this up into the last bit, coming to the tighter track with a bit of pace on. Yeah, it might help him settle a little bit. A bit like Nick, I didn't quite get him in, but 115 looks quite attractive.
Yeah, certainly does. He was able to win off 132 in Class 3, and this is only his second go in the grade Reward Smile. He's already had 3 starts this season and wasn't beaten overly far there. Next of the replays we want to have a look at here, well, we're going back to the trials here at Sha Tin with Pinghai Galaxy in this. How did you see his trial here, Paul?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, was it? Like, he can be a little bit headstrong, Pinghai Galaxy. He's going to get a lot of pace in this race, which again should help him settle as well, coming into it fresh. And look, the trial, he did it easy enough here at the end.
He did. Look, he's a very likeable 8-year-old, this fellow. He is a winner over the course and distance. 0 from 7 first up, though, was my concern. I think he probably will need it.
Yeah, and he's popped up at big prices from time to time in the past. It has Pinghai Galaxy at the trials again, and this is Nervous Witness, one you're keen on in this, Nick. Can he bounce back because the wheels have fallen off a little, haven't they? Yeah, for sure. Look, he's been and had surgery. I mean, look, it's one of those. Hopefully he can bounce back, but as you say, that the wheels have certainly more than wobbled on occasion. So look, hopefully he can be back to his best, and his best will see him good enough to win this. He's actually a pound lower than his last success, and I really did like the trial. Yeah, the trial was nice. There was no pressure on as he came down. After all that sort of problems that he's had, we see what happens when the pressure goes on. Indeed, we will. Another one here to look at, and this is Seasons Wit, his recent trial coming into with this, Paul. I think he's ready to win here first up. He's actually looking for 4 in a row. He won 3 at the back end of last season, and he's into the class for the first time. He's
a real honest horse too, isn't he, Seasons Wit? Look, he's had 1/4. That's the worst we've seen from him. He's either won or run second. The horse comes in nicely. The race should be run to suit. He's got a nice weight coming in, 119, maybe 1 over, but from barrier 4, he looks good. Yeah. Look, he's a very nice horse. He went up 20 pounds for those 3 wins. As you can see, the CV certainly does read impressively. Look, make no bones about it, this is a much tougher ask for sure. I mean, he was beating Harmony and Blessed, who is a very decent horse, but he's not up to this class.
Yep, son of a capitalist out of a star-spangled Bannermere is Seasons Wit. OK, Paul, interesting race over the 1,000 metres. Who are you siding with here?
I'm going to go with Seasons Wit. I think he can make a winning seasonal debut here, and he's on top. Wizkid should get that perfect run right in behind. Now, his trial was awful, but it wasn't particularly good, is what I'm saying. But we've seen that before already from Tony Cruz's horses, and they've run well on race day. Kerpenny, he's won off this rating before. He's got a little claim, and then Nervous Witness in for 4th. 8, 4, 1 and 6. Yeah, I'm going to keep the faith with Nervous Witness here. He's had 1 or 2 issues, that's for sure, but he has had surgery. Hopefully that has corrected any issue he has had, of course, and I think he's good enough to win this on the back of a good trial. So he'll go on top over Seasons Wit, who, look, I've got a lot of time for him. Hopefully he takes the next step forward because he could be a really smart sprinter for the stable. Wizkid will give his running, and Kerpenny likewise sets the standard off a triple figure mark, 6, 8, 4, 1.
And don't forget to preview for each and every race on the website hkjc.com. But it's that time of the show where we find out the best values and the plays. Paul, you can go first.
Going to go with Street Conqueror in race number 9. This horse came off a really slow pace last time and ran 4th. Prior to that, he'd won on his Happy Valley debut. Now let's have a look at this 4th. You can see him, he's well back. He comes down the outside. They sort of walked in the middle sectionals, so he didn't really, he had too much ground to make up. But I really like the way he finished off this race, and both his runs this season have both been very good. The winner, Lightning Bolt, is very progressive and has won 2 in a row. So he's the best. Long shot we're going to do in the last. A horse who's never been to Happy Valley before, and that's Brave Dreams. But he always looks like he'll be suited by the course. And then the play of the day in race 2, 148 in the ultimate distance race of 2,200 metres, Natural Storm, Turin Mascot, and Total Power.
Yeah, best bet for me coming up at Happy Valley. Race 4 number 4, Sergeant Pepper. He ran really well last time. Derek Leung is back on board. Here's a look at this run. He's gone the brave man's route up the inside, and he's only just bumped into 1-2 good in the end. But he loves it around here. He's got plenty of course and distance form, and I think he looks ready to nearly go and win again. So there he is, just being mugged on the line, but I think he's good enough to go one place better here. And the long shot, race 5, number 11, Little Fairy. Slightly better run from him last time. And the play of the day, race 10, numbers 4, 7 and 11.
And the best bet for me comes up in race 2 with Turin Mascot. I think he strikes a very winnable race. He didn't have a great deal of luck last time out. Zach Purton and Pierre Ng. And you've got the long shot there with Not Usual Star, race 9, number 2. Luke Ferraris riding for Chris, so missed the start. The play with Sergeant Pepper, King Invincible and Gallant Bella in race number 4. Let's look what we've got coming up over the next week here in Hong Kong. We're racing in Happy Valley, of course, Sunday. Quick back up there Wednesday. Just note earlier start time with 9 races, and then Sha Tin for the Group 3 Sa Sa Ladies Purse Sunday week. But looking forward to a good card at the City Circuit, Nick.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Something a bit different on a Sunday as well.
Yep, home game for us all, so it should be good.
Indeed, and just note the first race, Happy Valley, 12:45 for race number 1, Sunday here in Hong Kong. Bye-bye.